I don't like that. I think when I go to put it on the market, that grade is going to be a problem, and I'm not saying it will or won't, but then you'd be looking at, okay, well, let's put some piers there so that in the future everybody has peace of mind. Other than that, I don't see any real physical reason to do it, but what I also can't tell them is what's underneath there currently, how well that's functioning, how well it was put in. Could be good, could be bad, could be in between, I don't know. And what's going to happen 2 weeks from now. I never know that. But right now, today, I don't have any recommendations unless they were just wanting us to do that. In which
Okay.
case we could, but I'm not saying that's something that has to.
That's something that has. So because you see the negative, explain that just one more time to the left. Like just explain where you saw a little bit of settling.
Yeah. So I see some stress signs, but every house moves.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see big stress signs that would indicate that the house has moved, 2 inches, for example. If it had moved 2 inches, I'd see that. I'd see that somewhere on or inside the house.
Okay.
And I don't see that. I can see some little signs of movement, but we get those because the ground swells and shrinks underneath the house, and the house will sort of flex up and down. That's how we develop problems in the first place. But that always naturally happens, and so you do get some stress signs that are due to that. So if we were going to do anything to the house at this point, it would be purely preventative. In other words, I wouldn't suggest a big lifting project here. You wouldn't try to make it level. You would just be putting piers on that side of the house to address that low area, and then to make it a selling point. If you had it on the market, and which this has happened, and every buyer that comes in is like, there's a foundation problem here, even though there technically really isn't. Mm-hmm. There have been times where we've said, well, okay, look, every buyer that comes in thinks there's a problem. Why don't we
Address it.
Address their fears and put piers over here. We're not going to lift it because we feel like it was constructed that way, but we put piers there, and then that way we can have it engineered, certified, offer a warranty, and then that might change that buyer's perception. So there are reasons for doing stuff like that. I'm not sure this is really one of them.
Okay, so just so we know that you're not suggesting this is.
I wouldn't suggest it at this point.
Okay.
I mean, unless it's we feel like it's going to hold back a sale in the future.
Okay.
It's just unfortunate that we don't have any information on what was done, but that's very common.
Okay, that makes sense.
They did it with me.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. So hopefully that makes sense.
That makes sense. So as of right now, there's really no recommendation.
I don't have a recommendation for you right now.
Okay, perfect. I appreciate it, and I do appreciate you, the no fear monger. That I get that in some foundation companies where you're like, oh my gosh,
Your house is gonna fall.
Yeah, your house is it sinking? What's going on
Trying
here?
to create a sense of urgency and all that,
Yeah.
but it's like, let's dial it back and
Yeah.
not try to manipulate them.
This situation,
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you.
Yeah,
I
you're
appreciate it.